Do you ever hate being right? This will be a somewhat quick video because I saw these articles this morning before heading out, so I just got back. I am dead tired, but I do want to make this as quickly as possible. So I made a video about the direction that the game industry is trying to make gamers, try to force us into. And this is the developers and Nvidia and the reviewers and the game sites and YouTubers. Everybody's trying to push us to accept these new technologies. And lo and behold, I saw two articles, one from DSOG, or Dark Side of Gaming, another one from Notebook Check. Let's deal with the Notebook Check. So as you can see, this article was published September 17th, which is the same day that I made the video there, or released the video rather. And the Jusant one was today, as a matter of fact, September 18th, right? It's a pretty short article. I won't need to go for everything. I'll just bring out some of the key points of this. I'm going to leave it up here on the screen so you can read it for yourself, right? So the Notebook article, who wrote it? Lee? Alright, so Lee admits that fake resolution is not better than native unless the base game has poor anti-aliasing implementation, right? So there are some people around who said the fake resolution will be better than native. Half truth. So I give them props for at least admitting that. However, they now attempted revisionist history that's saying that pre-2020 PC gamers were stuck with monitor interpolation if the game resolution was lower than the monitor. No, let me ask you something. Those of you in PC gaming, for the past, let us say 4 years, when was the last time you had to drop the resolution of a game to run it? This only became a thing once again with the upscaling, the fake resolution, you know. Because up until that point, you do not drop, you drop settings. If you buy a very powerful 1080p card and you want to try it at 1440p, you drop settings. So you max out the settings at 1080p, you drop the settings at 1440p. But even then, that is almost like super sampling, especially if your monitor is the 1440p one. But it's been a very, very long time, so it's really, really disingenuous to say pre-2020 gaming PC make it sound as if in 2019 we were routinely dropping the resolution to run games. That is not a thing. Additionally, they created a false equivalency with the checkboard rendering of the 8th gen consoles. No, the 8th gen consoles, that's the PS4, they were underpowered. So PC gamers more often than not could just max out everything at 1080p. And they are now using, right, the technology of a TV, because console typically play on TV. They're using the technology of a TV upscaling with a GPU PC monitor upscaling. So they are trying to say that PC gamers had the same experience as console gamers when it comes to running things at 4K and whatever. No, that's not the case. On PC, if you want to run things at 4K, you buy a 4K card. We did not have to hook up the console to our 4K TV, and therefore, like, all of these things was not a problem. Even though, for example, I have a 1440p monitor, 27-inch. I don't need anything higher than this. I'm not getting a 4K monitor for this. So they create a false equivalency there, and they made an attempt at revisionist history. It also glosses over to, in the last paragraph here, it glosses over the loss in quality as minimal. One could argue that remnants to fake resolution results in minimal loss in quality. However, the loss in quality involved shimmering and this weird pixelated film grain-esque effect on the NPC faces that was very, very distracting. So I would rather drop settings and have my image look crisp rather than have this weird fuzzy thing and this weird blinking thing in the distance, even though those might be considered minimal. But you see, these are all tactics in order to make to almost gaslight you into loving fake resolution now. And then moving over to Jusant Tech interview. Jusant is apparently a game. You know what? I'm going to download this, because I think it has a demo. I'm going to download the demo and have this playing in the background probably. Right. Yeah, I'll try that. So this game now, It's not a graphical intensive game, but it does run the nanite and the lumen and whatever. But what was confusing about, or some of the issues I have with this article, one, they had a very confusing reply early on when they said that switching to Unreal Engine 5.0 gained a lot of lost performance because they were targeting 60 FPS, but the project was running at 30 FPS. Now, how it's worded is a little bit odd, but if you want to take it that they in switching to Unreal Engine 5, it regained some FPS, but then they also spoke very highly of fake resolution. So now my question is, did the performance that they gained or regained, was it on the merit of Unreal Engine 5 just being more optimized than whatever they're using before, or were they using fake resolution and possibly fake frames in order to get the frame rate that they quote unquote lost? Alright, I might cut out this part of the video. Oh, at FSR, right? So right here, they basically say that you take the time to compute good pixels and then let the upscaler do the rest. So this means they're basically outsourcing part of their optimization to NVIDIA, AMD, and Intel. So they don't have to do the work of properly optimizing the game. Make the game, run at 1080p and then fake it to 1440p. And Remnant 2 showed that is not actually the best way to do things, because Remnant 2 for the longest while said you needed an upscaler, and after about 5 to 7 patches I can run Remnant 2 in the most intensive area and get high 40s to low 50s FPS at 1440p max settings with shadows straight down to mid. So it's entirely possible that if they spent another 6 months, 3 months optimizing the game, you could, there would not be any need for the upscaler in the first place in Remnant 2. So if Remnant 2 can do that, Remnant 2 is a far more graphical intensive game than this. Granted, it doesn't use lumen, right? But fake resolution is not optimization. It was not built or marketed as optimization initially. Remember that it was at first pushed as a way that you can extend the life of your old card. That's how it was initially marketed, and that is what was used as a Trojan horse to get people on board with it. But myself and no doubt some others, unfortunately the bigger tech channels and media personnel didn't sound the alarm, but right away we said, hold on, this is bad because this is fake performance basically. And what is to stop NVIDIA, AMD, and Intel going forward to basically make a 1080p card and then say fake it all the way up to 4K? That will not be in our best interest. And now the narrative is changing from upscale, from fake resolution being something that would extend the life of your old cards to something that you need on newer cards to play the game at the target resolution that the newer cards are marketed at. Because there's a quote here. He says that that gamers want true 4K. Some want true 4K, but this is not the way he sees things. But this is a straw man, because fake resolution is not only being used to run game at 4K. Now when you try to limit the discussion to 4K, it almost sounds reasonable, alright? Rather than making 4K pixels and so on, we make 2K pixels and fake it up to 4K to save on power. That almost sounds reasonable. Except this fake resolution is applied to 1440p and 1080p. Now switch the 4K in its statement to 1080p, and suddenly it says some gamers want true 1080p games, but this is not the way he sees things. That suddenly doesn't sound reasonable anymore. Now here's another thing. Up until the fake resolution, the highest end cards for the past 2 generations were built and marketed as you being able to play what he calls true 4K. So now we are experiencing a regression, because now we move from marketing, okay, this game can run, or this card can run games at 4K, to we need to run the games at 1440p and then fake it up to 4K. So how about we continue with the cards being built for 4K, running the games at 4K, rather than this weird thing where we say that we're going to build a card for 4K, but then to get the 4K you have to do some software magic to get it. Now they did mention lumen and how lumen is very easy, just put in and drop on thing, but it has a very heavy GPU requirement. If you don't have cards powerful enough routinely to run these things, it is probably not a feature that you should use in gaming. Use it when you're creating the CGIs to reduce your workload and so on. But especially if you don't have like real-time shadows and like an open world game, the day-night cycle and so on, do you really need the resource intensiveness of lumen? Really? I would argue that if your game will not benefit from dynamic lighting, optimization is not using lumen or ray tracing in this case, not using a massively power hungry feature and then faking the resolution to compensate and say that's optimization. No, to optimize your project, you do not use something that requires 500% power to get 60% better performance. That doesn't make any sense. So this was just a quick video. I'm now going to go and sleep because I'm dead tired.